From 1874, this is the oldest photo of the old Point Loma Lighthouse. And from then to now, the restored landmark has become a symbol of this city.
In many, many ways, it is the thing that people think of when they think of San Diego.
The Point Loma Lighthouse opened in 1855. An assistant keeper's home was added. Here's that same shot now, the centerpiece of Point Loma's Cabrillo National Monument. Park historian Bob Munson says the lighthouse's illuminating beam first guided ships into the harbor during this state's gold rush.
California is a very dangerous coast, and they were losing ships right and left.
For nearly 20 years, Robert Israel and his wife were the government's lighthouse keepers.
And the one rule that could get you fired if you didn't follow it was, without fail, that light will be kept burning brightly from sunset to sunrise every night.
Their living quarters are recreated in the lighthouse. They had to climb the tower every night to light the oil wicks.
These people had an incredible sense of dedication, their sense of responsibility. This was a 24/7 job. There were no days off. There was no sick leave.
And back then, in the late 1800s, it was desolate and lonely out on Point Loma. Today, the lighthouse is one of San Diego's biggest attractions.
Now, the real gem of this whole thing, and we call it a half-ton piece of jewelry, is the lens.
The 5-foot-tall hand-ground lens is made up of 234 prisms. The lens magnified the oil flame more than 10,000 times, sending out a beam 30 miles to sea. But the lighthouse on top of Point Loma was socked in by fog 3 months out of the year.
Well, you can't see a lighthouse that's enveloped in fog, and that's what ultimately put this one out of business.
In 1891, the lighthouse closed for good. Then it sat vacant and was vandalized over the years. Now you can see how much went into the restoration. In the early 1900s, people still drove up to the abandoned lighthouse. But what a difference between then and now. In the 1930s, the area became a national park, and the lighthouse was restored with lush landscaping. Since then, the plan was to restore the area to its original look.
We had to begin to take this whole hilltop back to the way it actually looked in 1887.
And now, it is like stepping back in time. There are not that many landmarks as old as the old Point Loma Lighthouse here. But even after all these years, it remains a present-day icon of San Diego.
How many places can you see in San Diego that use it as part of their logo or in their advertising or on signs and so forth?
An enduring and cherished piece of history. That was then, and this is now. Jack Gates, Channel 4 San Diego.